What's your best malicious compliance story that actually worked? The coffee shop near campus installed noise detectors that kicked out anyone who wasn't loud enough because quiet customers were killing the vibe. These sensors hung from the ceiling measuring decibel levels at every table. If you dropped below 65 decibels for 2 minutes, the lights above your seat would flash red and security would escort you out. The owner claimed it would create a vibrant atmosphere, but he basically criminalized studying in peace. The policy was a disaster from the start. A woman got ejected while reading divorce papers because she was crying too quietly. A pre-med student got kicked out for concentrating on practice problems without talking. The worst was when a professor who'd been coming every morning for years got thrown out 3 days straight for reading his newspaper in silence. He never came back. People started calling it the Scream Cafe, and business tanked immediately. My roommate and I were complaining about it over dinner when I got the dumbest idea that might actually work. I grabbed a stack of index cards and started writing down every random fact I could remember. The next morning, we showed up with our study group ready to maliciously comply the hell out of this stupid rule. We took a 6-person table and launched our system. Every 90 seconds, someone would shout a fact at 75 decibels. Octopi have 3 hearts and blue blood, then back to studying. 90 seconds later, the moon moves away from Earth at 1.5 inches per year, then back to homework. The genius part was that they never specified a maximum volume, just a minimum. My friend downloaded a decibel meter app, and we practiced in the parking lot first like complete idiots. The sensors stayed satisfied, and we actually got work done between outbursts. Other customers stared, but the baristas seemed relieved someone had found a loophole. One of them started mouthing thank you every time we ordered. Word spread across campus within days. By the end of the week, we had shifts running from open to close. Morning crew shouted historical facts. Afternoon was all science. Evening shift just screamed movie plots. Someone brought a megaphone. Another guy showed up with an air horn for emphasis. An engineering student built an app that reminded you when to yell and suggested appropriate facts. We made a shared Google Calendar for shifts and a document of approved shouting material. The philosophy majors got way too into it and started bellowing entire passages from Kant. One girl memorized every Oscar winner since 1929 and delivered them with incredible dramatic flair. The whole operation ran perfectly. We even had substitutes for when people had exams. The unintended consequences were beautiful. Regular customers gave up on verbal conversation entirely and started frantically learning ASL from YouTube videos and library books. A couple planned their wedding through actual sign language they'd learned just to communicate in the coffee shop. The baristas downloaded ASL apps and practiced basic signs for coffee orders. One woman's entire book club enrolled in an ASL course together. A group of graduate students hired a tutor and practiced signing during their study sessions. The best part was the deaf students who used to get constantly kicked out for signing instead of speaking, and were now thriving in the chaos while everyone else desperately tried to learn their language. They sat up at the best table every morning looking absolutely delighted and occasionally helping people with their signing. The Yelp reviews described it as educational waterboarding and Wikipedia assault with purchase required. 3 weeks in, the owner cornered me mid-shout about Venice being built on wooden pilings. He looked broken. Someone behind us was reciting the entire periodic table at maximum volume. A girl at the corner table was aggressively explaining how diamonds form to her laptop. Please make it stop, he begged. This isn't what we wanted. His expensive Italian espresso machine was basically a background prop in our educational theater. I showed him my decibel app proving we exceeded his 65 decibel minimum. You said we need to maintain lively conversation above 65 decibels, I said. You never set a maximum volume, and education is very lively. He actually whimpered when someone started listing every bone in the human body. The sensors vanished overnight behind a hastily printed sign about technical difficulties that required indefinite maintenance, but we all knew the truth. Peace finally returned to the coffee shop, though I caught myself shouting random facts at home for weeks afterward. The funny thing is that our ridiculous protest actually transformed the place into the most ASL-friendly cafe near campus, because half the staff and regulars kept practicing the sign language they'd started learning just to survive the chaos. I still carry those index cards in my backpack.